Hey guys, how y'all doing? This is D Durrell with D Durrell Life Solutions. I hope everybody's having an excellent day today. So I'm just kind of hanging out, enjoying this breeze today, this good Houston breeze. It's not that hot today. It's like in the 80s, mid 80s, low mid 80s, breezy. It may rain or whatever, but I am out here at a park just kind of relaxing, enjoying the day. And I want to talk about the affordability of mental health services. Um, I want to talk about ways in which, as far as the cost of mental health services, whether it's affordable, non affordable, as it relates to insurances, Medicaid, or if you're wanting to do private pay, or somebody, there are places that do provide pro bono services. As it relates to myself, I can kind of talk about the payers that I have. I do accept Medicaid. I do accept Medicare. I do accept private pay. I do accept EAP services, and I also get paid through government contracting. And also, about 10 to 15% of the services that I provide are pro bono services, particularly as it involves the day services that I provide for adult mental health clients. The overwhelming majority of services that I provide are paid through Medicaid, Medicare payer sources, which makes up, and as it involves my company itself, I would say it makes up about 90% of the revenue that we bring in. The other 10% is government contracting, along with private insurances and anyone that pays cash. We don't have a lot of cash paying clients. That strictly pay cash for the services that they get. We do have those who have to pay an insurance deductible, who have to pay that deductible, which can be anywhere between $30 to $50, depending on that insurance. But for the most part, with all of the different improvements that have been made in regards to the delivery of services for mental health, it's an affordable service. Unfortunately, it kind of hurts me to see people on social media who are receiving services that are not facilitated by a professional. Even some of these services that can be, such as life coaching and things of that sort, which a lot of mental health professionals provide that service as a supplement to their practice. They charge a lot less than untrained, uneducated content creators who claim that they can help your life. Unfortunately, people online are paying for personality, they're paying for access, but the quality of services is not there, and these people are untrained, and they are not they don't have the experience, nor do they have the skills to provide professional life coaching. They're just basically labeling themselves a very vague label that doesn't have any professional or government or legal oversight. But let's kind of talk about the affordability as far as what a master's level therapist, such as a LCSW, which is a social worker, and an LPC, which is a licensed professional counselor, which is the credentials that I hold, and also a marriage and family therapist, which is an LMFT. They also those that are at the doctorate level, such as a clinical psychologist, and then a psychiatrist, which is at the medical level, and which is the most expensive of all mental health professionals. I'm going to limit this to strictly talking about therapy, although we can talk briefly about assessments. Assessments are not cheap. Assessments are mainly provided in in at at a higher level with psychologists, clinical psychologists. They are trained to pretty much provide projective and objective testing. As a master's level therapist, I am prohibited from providing projective testing, but I can provide some level of objective testing at a limited capacity and through the supervision of a psychologist. Some of those services can range anywhere between 200, 250 on up to 1,000 to 1,500, depending on the battery of testing. Not a lot of people seek those type of services unless they are trying to be a part of some type of government agency. It's actually mandated by the criminal justice system, court system, or some other, legal, or some other criminal or judicial branch that requests that. Some of that could be done through the school system, probation, parole, things of that sort. They may request some levels of assessments, and I do provide certain levels of assessments for my facility. I don't provide a lot of it. It kind of goes up and down, but for the most part, we provide about maybe 3 to 5 assessments a month, which is not a lot. There's also other services that are linked with what's called mental health case management, in which we provide a certain assessment, such as the CANS assessment and the ANSA assessment. The ANSA is provided twice a year, and which is every 6 months, and the CANS assessment is provided every 3 months, which is basically 4 times a year. And so those are pretty much basic assessments that can also be facilitated by a bachelor's level person, clinician, but it has to be signed and reviewed and supervised by a master's level on up clinician. Assessments can take anywhere between an hour, 2 hours, up to about 4 to 5 hours, depending on the level of testing. But that's kind of some people pay for this cash if it's needed for specific reasons. And some people, pay for it through their insurances, if the insurance authorizes it and approves to pay for it. So we're going to talk about therapy. I'm going to talk about individual therapy. I'm going to talk about group therapy, family therapy. And I'm going to start with individual therapy sessions. If you look on any counseling related website, whether it's Psychology Today, Open Path, there are Christian counseling directories, there are all types of counseling related, or even organizations such as state counseling or social work organizations, APA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Association, NAMI. All of those are mental health related organizations. On average, in 2024, the average master's level therapist probably charges anywhere between $100 to maybe $150 cash for the most part. Some provide a sliding scale. I no longer provide sliding scales. At one time in the infancy stages of my practice, I did provide sliding scales. Once my practice was more established, business became more established, and we gained a pretty positive reputation. I no longer provide those type of sliding scales. I do make some exceptions if it's something mandated through some type of government agency in which I have a contract. I will provide services at a contract rate, knowing that they're going to continuously feed me a certain amount of clients, and provide, I have a commitment of receiving a certain amount of business. But for the most part, for a private client, someone who sees me that wishes to have my services, I basically charge $100 an hour for counseling services. There are some that may charge as cheap as maybe $90 to $80 at this point. Rates have went up since COVID. When I first entered the field, I charged $75 an hour. And then I steadily increased it to $100. I'm actually thinking about probably next year increasing my services to about $120 to $125. I don't feel comfortable going over, $120, $25 an hour. Um, for those that pay more, depending on where you're located, I know master's level therapists who work high end clients that pay somewhere up to 150 to 200, but that's the minority of our field. Most therapists, master's level, don't charge that much. Now, as it relates to psychologists, you may have a psychologist charge anywhere between 135, 150 to about $250 an hour. Psychiatrists can charge whatever, gazillions amounts of money. It all depends on, that person and their type of practice. So most people can afford to seek services via their insurance, private insurance, or they have Medicaid, they have Medicare through their EAP where they can get services for free, or they receive these services for free if it's mandated again by the judicial system, the court system, whether it's family court, criminal court. They may want you to do an assessment, they may want an evaluation, they want you to do a certain amount of therapy sessions based on the issues. Employment, EAP, an employer can request this and mandate this, and if you don't do it, they'll fire you. So this is how most people afford it. So counseling can be expensive based on your level of need. On average, very few people see their therapist on a weekly basis throughout the year. If they, some people can. There are people that I have that they see me on a weekly basis. Then there are those who see me every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, once a month. Then I have some people that see me periodically on an as-needed basis. So therapy can become expensive if you're seeing someone once or twice a week, and you could spend anywhere between $500 to $800 to $1,000 a month, depending on your level of need. Even if you are using your private insurance, paying those copays also add up as equally as much. It costs over time. So with Medicaid, you don't pay anything. Having Medicaid insurance, they pay 100% of the fee that I bill, and it's an agreed upon fee. A large percentage of my clients are Medicaid, or they have Medicare. That's actually, they make up 80-90% of my practice. 10% of that is private insurance, private pay, EAP. That's basically the demographic and the chronically mentally ill clients that I provide services for. Those are the payer sources that they have, and my business is tailored for that population. I have a couple of other offices and where it may be different. I see a lot more private pay people, or I see people that have private insurance. They pay co-pays for those services. If, the insurance agrees to cover whatever amount, that's between them and their insurance, but we will let them know what the copay is, and they pay that copay, and then they're delivered the services that they seek. So for the most part, if you're using your insurance, you're going to pay about $30 to $50, which is not a lot compared to someone who's paying out of pocket 100%. If you're using Medicaid, Medicare, you don't have to pay anything. If you're using your EAP, they're going to pay everything, but they limit the amount of sessions that you get. On average, most EAPs will give you about 6 free sessions a year. Some may give you a little bit more than that, depending on the need. And if you are needing more, you're going to have to do an authorization to get more. But if they give you more, they're not going to give you no more than maybe 2 or 3. The EAP is more utilized to kind of get your foot in the door, where there is kind of a benefit to allow you to have free services. And if you want to seek those services long term, then you have to come out of pocket. That's basically what EAP is. It's for short term care. And if you need, if you're comfortable with that therapist, you may seek that therapist long term through your private insurance. So I just wanted to talk to you all about that as it involves the affordability of that. Some people can't afford these rates. Some people cannot afford them, particularly as it involves private insurance. And I kind of want to give a perspective of what you're probably going to spend on a session-to-session basis. Again, guys, this is D. Durrell with D. Durrell Life Solutions. Hope you have a great day.